I think the confusion a lot of biracial people go through is when you go to Japan, with my skin color, they don't think I'm Japanese at all, and they think I'm full black. And obviously, when you're in Ghana, if you are light even a little bit, you're like Obroni, which is like a foreigner, right?
I'm Vanessa Kanbi, and this is West African Wave, a series where I interview people within West Africa and in the diaspora. And today I'm talking to
Marintia.
And she is half Japanese, half Ghanaian, grown up in Ghana and lived part of that time also in Canada and in Japan. I just think it's so cool that you have Japanese and Ghanaian in you, because I really love the Japanese culture and it's somewhere that I've told you that I'm really desperate to come to. It would be great to hear about your experience of growing up with those two cultures within you in Ghana.
Yeah, so kind of how like Vanessa said, my dad is Ghanaian, my mom is Japanese, and definitely growing up biracial is an interesting experience, but I honestly personally loved it. I have a lot of half Japanese, half Ghanaian friends, and I know the experience has been different for everyone. I have half Japanese, half Ghanaian friends that have grown up only in Japan and don't speak English or don't even know about Ghana. And I have half Japanese, half Ghanaian friends that have only grown up in Ghana, don't know Japanese, don't know anything about that world. I kind of have like was able to have a balance of both because of going back and forth between the two. But yeah, I'm excited to share the experience with you.
Where did your mom and dad meet?
My mom was in Japan at the time, and my dad went to work in Japan when he was younger. And I guess my mom's best friend was dating a Ghanaian man, and the man's best friend was my dad. So through their best friends, they kind of got to meet each other. And I will say that like both my mom and dad have been unconventional type people, because Japanese people don't really like to leave their box, and they're very like within their own country and their boundaries. But my mom was like the type of person that liked traveling outside of Japan. My dad in himself is like Ghanaian, but a lot of like traditional Ghanaian men traits he doesn't carry, and I feel like those two, like both of them not being too traditional, kind of like made them very compatible with each other. But yeah, so they met in Japan.
Oh nice. Is there a big Ghanaian community in Japan?
Yeah, there's a good number of African people from other countries in Japan now, and when my dad first went, there weren't too many, but there is.
Oh, okay. And what took him to Japan?
Yeah, no, honestly, I think at that particular time, it was a time where everyone was kind of leaving Ghana to go and find jobs in different countries. So a lot of his friends went to Europe, some of his friends went to the US, and a couple of his friends went to Asia. And for him, the person that he was close to ended up in Japan, so kind of told him, yeah, Japan is a good place to come to. So he kind of followed his lead and went to Japan. And
also,
yeah,
you were saying that all of his brothers also married Japanese women.
Yeah, that's always kind of like the funny thing, because it's like when people come and visit me, they're like, they already thought it was weird I was half Japanese, half Ghanaian. Then they come into my house and there's like a bunch of half Japanese, half Ghanaian kids around. And it's my dad went to Japan to work, and he was working for the longest time. He eventually started his own business there, and he wanted to move back to Ghana. He eventually called his brothers to come and help him with the business and help him with everything in Japan. So his brothers also found their wives in Japan, and now all my cousins are, yeah.
Were you born in Japan or in Ghana?
Yeah, so I was born in Japan, but I moved to Ghana when I was 2. So,
okay.
Yeah.
And then did you do your junior years in Ghana?
Yeah, so I was in Japan from 2 to 10, so I went to elementary school I was in Ghana from 2 to 10. So I spent elementary school years in Ghana, middle school, Japan, and then I went to Canada for 1 year, but I ended up back in Ghana for high school. So I spent majority, I would say, of my life thus far in Ghana. So.
And how did you find it growing up?
Yeah, so kind of looking back at it now, I realized that like at different stages in my life, I leaned more towards one half or the other. So like definitely as a kid, I felt more Japanese. I was like more like very timid, very shy. I didn't really go out and say hi to everyone, and I was like I felt more Japanese and I related more to Japanese culture when I was a kid. Then as I grew older, I became more and more closer to my Ghanaian side. And I think when I was a kid too, I was probably more sensitive. I think that's what it was, because I think the confusion a lot of biracial people go through is when you go to Japan, I think it's very obvious that I'm Asian with my eyes, but when you go to Japan with my skin color, they don't think I'm Japanese at all, right? Yeah, they don't think I'm Japanese at all, and they think I'm full black. And obviously, when you're in Ghana, if you are light even a little bit, you're like Obroni, which is like a foreigner, right? So then, I think as a kid, I was like a lot more sensitive, because if I go to Japan, I'm like a foreigner. If I'm in Ghana, I'm a foreigner. So I remember not liking that as a kid. But then, as I grew older, I think like I understand that like a lot of Ghanaian people just say Obroni as a joke, and it's not really a deep thing. And becoming more and more Ghanaian, like I speak Pidgin, and I kind of just like know everyone, and I kind of feel more a part of them, I guess, in a weird way, and I'm less affected by that type of thing. But I definitely think it was tougher as a kid.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you went to Japan to go to school, how was that being at school? Did they basically treat you as if you weren't Japanese at all?
Well, so thankfully, I'm really thankful for this, because I didn't go to a Japanese school. I went to an international school. And like if I had gone to a Japanese school, the experience could have been completely different, because I don't know someone. Actually, I do, yeah. And I know there can be a lot of bullying, especially if you go to like a full Japanese school and you're black, or if you're a foreigner. So I don't know. I'm so happy that wasn't my experience. Luckily for me, I went to an international school where it was kind of all the kids that were foreigners in Japan. So my school life didn't really change that much being in like that international school particularly. I would say most of the experience of like being seen as a foreigner was like outside of school, just like moving around and and things like that.
And I love everything that I hear about Japan. What is your favorite pieces of the culture of Japan, or your favorite things about Japan? And I guess your experience from living there. Yeah.
I mean, outside of like the very, very obvious thing like food, sushi, and music, and I watch so many Japanese TV shows, and that, I would say like culturally, one thing I really appreciate is the respect. And like the story that I always use is when people come out of the train, like the whole station, like the platform is full, right? Because everyone just came out of the train. And the stairs has like a section where the people go up and the people are coming down. And usually the section where the people are coming down is empty, because people have already gone into the train, but now it's left for the people that just got out of the train. And I was going up, and like the side where people come down is empty, but no one goes there, even without anyone telling them to not go there, right? Yeah, so then it's like if that was Ghana, everyone would be in both lanes just trying to go up and down. And it's like people just have that innate respect to like to rules, to people, to boundaries, and just that kind of general behavior I feel like resonates in every part of their life. And I think that's like a really cool part of how Japanese people are.
And I guess I'll ask you the same for Ghana then. What's your favorite things about Ghana, the Ghanaian culture, and also your experiences from living there?
Yeah. No, same thing again, like Ghana food, music, everything. I will say I'm definitely more closer to my Ghanaian roots than like being Japanese, just because of the fact that like I've spent more time in Ghana, and Ghana feels more like home for me. But I was talking about this yesterday on a podcast talking about everything happening in America right now with police brutality. And one thing I love the most about Ghana is the fact that like if I'm walking on the streets and someone steals my wallet, all the people on that like there will go and chase that person for me. Or like I remember someone hit my car and then the person was speeding off. The 3 other drivers around me like got into their cars and chased that driver for me. And I think like a beautiful part about like Ghanaian culture and a lot of African culture is like everyone is so one and family without actually being family. Like the woman in the neighborhood cooks not only for their family, but they cook for everyone around them, and like just how the brotherhood and like the love from everyone that you can feel in Ghana as like
it's like
being
community
supported.
like the
Yeah,
community spirit is so
exactly
strong.
Yeah, it's so different from like the Western world where it's every man for themselves, you know.
Definitely.
So yeah.
And how did you find the school experience in Ghana in high school? I guess that's probably what you're going to remember more than
Yeah. No, I loved it. I will say I had more of a privileged like school life because I got to go to an international school, and my experience is definitely different from maybe going to like a public school or things like that, because I have had mixed like half Japanese, half Ghanaian friends that go to public schools, and some of them like it if they've gone to it all their life, but for some of them that join in the middle, it's hard for them. But I would say like I really loved my like personal experience, like the friends that I made. Academically, it was very good as far as like being able to get into a good university. And I think a lot of Ghanaian kids will relate to this. We just have so much more freedom than a lot of kids in America have. Like I would drive to school, I can meet up with friends anytime, we can walk and meet and go and buy wache, and we can just do like regular things that maybe a lot of people outside won't be able to do. So no, I loved it.
And I don't know if you'd want to say what school you went to. Would you?
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I went to GIS. I went to Ghana International School. I think it's a awesome place, at least from when I was there, which was only like 3 years ago. I really loved the experience. So yeah.
And that brings us on to America. Obviously, you're in America just now, and you're at university in Georgia, in Atlanta.
Yeah.
How was that transition moving to America for the first time?
So I think this is another part in which like I completely understand and accept like the privilege that I've had in traveling a lot, because I have other like friends from Ghana that this was their first time moving away from their family or moving to like America for the first time, and it's like the cultural difference and everything is like a little bit hard. But for me, I kind of moved around a lot from like I said, from like when I was a kid. There were parts of my life where I wasn't always living with my parents, so I kind of got that independence earlier on. And just being familiar with like America and like different cultures, the transition wasn't as drastic for me as it was for a lot of other people. It still was hard in the sense that like I think the biggest thing that's hard is like food probably for me, and like just not having home food available at all times. Apart from that, like nothing really has struck me as very difficult yet.
And what's your plan for the future? Do you ever plan on moving back to Ghana, and what do you want to do in the future?
Yeah, so I my passion is entrepreneurship and business. So way down the line, a vision or something that I would like to achieve is to be able to be in Ghana and to have multiple businesses in Ghana, multiple real estate investments, and be able to build my own portfolio of businesses in Ghana, and that would be ideal. But just like my dad had to be in Japan for, you know, multiple years before finally being able to move back and do his business in Ghana, I think it's like necessary for me to gain experience here. I have other ambitions that I want to pursue in the entertainment industry, living in New York and doing other things like that. But definitely down the line, going back to Ghana would be in the cards. Yes.
Amazing, thanks so much.
Yeah.
And you've got your own YouTube channel, which is also great. So if anybody wants to check out more about you, your journey and what you get up to, you do really nice travel vlogs and that sort of thing. So yeah, let them know what your YouTube name is and your Instagram.
Yeah, my YouTube name and Instagram name, they're both very, very long. I need to find a shorter way of putting it, but it's Marintia Goto-Williams. Such a long name, I need a shorter one, but that's the same name for both my Instagram and my YouTube. And like Vanessa said, I make Ghana vlogs, travel vlogs, college content, whatever it may be. So yeah, check it out.
Great, thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun, yeah.
Thanks so much for watching this video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to help my channel grow and to help me to continue make these videos. Thanks and see you soon.